Welcome back to another State of the Bulldogs with Sam, Mike, Jeb, and Grant. Sam and Jeb are not here. It's just Mike and I tonight. Mike, we are watching Bucky try to go 4-0 against in the SEC. Took down my Sooners, just trying to take down your Vols. How we doing?
Oh, we're about 10 minutes into recording and my computer shut down, so we're restarting and Sanford, Tennessee is about to lose to Buckyballs. Great for a Tuesday night, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. We had his crazy Auburn win last week, and then he beat OU at home. Now he's trying to go up to Knoxville in a game, try to get his first ranked win. We just saw Rylan Jones on the TV. They showed him sitting behind the bench. They showed him yawning on camera, and the color guy was like, "Rylan Jones, he's yawning. He's tired." So that's what happens when you're old. You got
That's what
going
happens
on.
when you go off in the manager games on the Monday night before the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens. It must have been a long trip back to the hotel after the manager game last night. After they got another win at their undefeated SEC play, they're talking about their 5-1. It's a little unfair having an all SoCon kind of guy who was just all SoCon last year, kind of beyond the manager games. But I digress at kind of that point.
Yeah, former four-star recruit
Yeah,
took Stanford to the I can't get my team straight. Took Stanford to the NCAA tournament. Played internationally for a little bit. Definitely doesn't seem like he'd be eligible to play in the manager games, but I guess
yeah,
NIL era, nobody really knows what's legal and what's not.
yeah. Who knows what A&M's got? They got money for the manager games. That's pretty crazy. I don't know what they got
Yeah,
going
I
on.
wonder what
Yeah.
his yeah, what kind of bag is he getting over there at A&M? I know they've got the money for him.
Yeah, we might need to check that out. But speaking of former Sanford guys, go to this Sanford team under Coach A. Cuff. Sanford went 1-1 last week. We had predictions last week. We thought 2-0 would have been nice, but especially need to go 1-1, beating Western. Sanford with the 82-77 win over Western, down as much as 16 or 17 in that first half. Had to answer the 14-0 run, and then you go to Chattanooga and here you're down by 17 or whatever on Wednesday. Here, let's make it 28. Let's see if we can come back down from a 28-point deficit. They cut it to 4 at one point in the second half, but just couldn't get it done. Chattanooga got their first SoCon win, 88-79. We can stick with kind of the Western game as Sanford got it done without Dylan Faulkner, who was nursing an ankle injury. He came back in Chattanooga. He should be good to go. He just hadn't practiced leading up to the Western game, so Lenny wanted to not take a chance. But going Sanford, Jaden Booth played 39 minutes. He was 5-9 from three, put the team on his back, 33 points, and he was basically unconscious in that second half. He went off 33. Keaton Norris, 11 points, and then a couple other guys. Will Shaver, Jeb's guy, former North Carolina Tar Heel, Oakmont High School. Will Shaver with 11 points, 4 boards, the best game of his career. And then Cam Barton pitched in 11 points. What are your kind of takeaways from this first game against Western?
Yeah, very impressive to one win that game without Faulkner and two to come back from 18 down without Faulkner. I think he he's such a presence for us that I mean it's gonna be tough for us to beat anybody without him on the court. So especially to come back from 18 down. I think I mean story we've kind of seen season all season long is Jaden Booth and his ability to when he gets going, he's really unstoppable. And I think he scored. I don't think another Sanford player scored a field goal in the last 12 minutes of that game. There were several
Yeah.
players that hit free throws to kind of help push us along to the 5 point win, but Jaden Booth was the only one to score from the field in the last 11 minutes. So um, that's kind of the moral of the story for Sanford this season.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know how I forgot about that. Sitting there with John Chris came down to the game, so they're checking that. We just want Jay to just shoot it every time. We don't care. We don't want to. And he wants to take this chance, Jay, and just take your shot. And he had a point where he had 18 of Sanford's 20, like that stretch you talked about. He made every three. He was pulling up, even when he would pump it. We would all stand up like he was about to shoot, but didn't. But yeah, he put Sanford on his back, and Sanford. I was struggling the first half. Chattanooga, Samuel Dada led them off the bench with 19 points, 14 rebounds. He was a big kind of effort, kind of took off, especially with Dylan not in there. But Lenny at halftime interviewed by Ariel Schaefer at halftime, and Ariel said, "We got 3 stops in the first half. What do you think you kind of take away in the second?" He was like, "Well, it couldn't have gotten much worse." I said, yeah, you're probably right. Being down whatever at home, trying to find a way to claw back. But again, just awesome seeing Jaden kind of step up without Dylan there.
Yeah, other than the Jaden Booth show, I think it's kind of the same story of uh, where we're gonna get the rest of the points.
Mm.
I think every game somebody else kind of steps up, but there's just a lot of inconsistency on this team, and I'm trying to get a feel for what Lenny's plan is around our minutes, like managing our minutes, because it
Yeah.
seems like every game's different, and I can't tell if that's personnel trying to play to the opponent, or if it's truly just he doesn't know who he can trust at this point in the season, and he's just kind of like playing around with different lineups.
Yeah, he
And
had a stretch there where Zion basically had to play small ball five. He only played 11 minutes, but I'm pretty sure he played like 5 or 6 last minutes, like straight all the way, because obviously Shaver doesn't give you much speed kind of off cut defensively, and Western doesn't have a true center either, so that kind of helped with throwing Zion at the five. But yeah, you talked about that. Zion with 11 minutes, just 2 points, but had 4 boards. Cam Barton hit a couple of big threes in the corner. He was a big reason why Samford could kind of get back into it in the first half. He had 11 points, 4 for 4 from the field, 3 of 3 from three. But yeah, who else is going to kind of provide that scoring? As we've kind of seen the rotation kind of find its way a little bit. So hard to see with Dylan being out this game. But yeah, Jackson Pollard got the start. He only played 13 minutes at Samford. Like if he's not providing you anything offensively, he was 0-4 from three. Like if he's not at least stretching the floor a little bit, like you can't have him out there pretty much playing the. You might as well have Zion out there if he's not going to provide anything offensively.
yeah, I know he took a couple threes early in the game, like maybe three early threes, and missed all three of them. So he's definitely a player that can get hot, and we've seen him have a couple games where he can contribute offensively, but he's been fairly inconsistent for the most part all season. And I mean, truly, I just don't trust it when the ball goes up and he's the one shooting. Uh, so, would like to see him kind of with his his veteran status, kind of trying to lead this team. He's I don't know how old he is, but I know he's married, so
Yeah.
he's been around the league for a while, and I feel like he could be a leader on this team, but he just needs to be more consistent, really in all aspects of his game.
Yeah, he's 9 of 43 from deep right now. He does rebound the ball well. He is 90th in the country according to Kim Palm defensive rebounding percentage. So, I mean, for his size at 6'7", 6'7", 225, he is out there providing some kind of rebounding defensively. But yeah, you might as well just have Zion who provides you more length, more speed. He can guard pretty much 1 through 5 out there.
I was about to say that exact same thing. It's a great point. Is what does he provide that Zion doesn't? Because Zion's also a really good rebounder, and he also provides a little bit more versatility, probably lateral movement, and a little bit more offensive ability.
Yeah, especially Zion 4 rebounds, the same amount that Paul one more rebound than Pollard, and then Caden Norris is just super steady. He only had 7 points, but he chipped in with 5 boards with 2 assists, 4 from the free throw line. He's just another guy where he's not going to provide you a ton offensively, but again, he's just super reliable, and you can have him out there for the 33 minutes that Lenny had him out there. Both Norris brothers played 33 minutes. The Cage kind of a guy. He's just steady. You know what you're going to get from him. It's good. Kind of a guy kind of set the tone a little bit there.
Yeah, I think both Norris brothers, continue to impress me, not necessarily in the stat sheet, but just how smart of players they are. I mean, they talk about on the broadcast all the time. Their dad's a coach. They've got an older brother that I think played somewhere D1,
Yep.
and they just come from a basketball family. You can just tell that in the way they play. I mean, Cade Norris, he's not the biggest guy, he's not the fastest guy, but you can just tell he's a cerebral player and makes the right decision and contributes off the stat sheet. So. Really hoping he's the guy that can stick around and continue to grow in this offense. And um, again, not going to be somebody that we design a whole game plan around, but he's always going to be a guy that's going to make the right pass, be in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, there were a couple times in the first half where basically he would get one-on-one on the block against a smaller guy. I mean, he's not super big, Kate. He's about 6'4", but he's got a little bit of a back to basket game. Those where Stanford's trying to get some more points, especially with Dylan not being out there. So again, there is some of that. He's over 30% 3-point shooters. We can stretch for a little bit, but yeah, just kind of good having both brothers, like you said, sons of coaches that know what to do, and Lenny obviously trusts them no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, Cade Norris is 6'4". Like sometimes I feel like he plays like he's 6'6", 6'7",
Yeah.
backing guys down the post. I mean, he can hit the three. He definitely kind of plays the chip on his shoulder. Maybe that's just being the younger brother of two other collegiate basketball players. But and then yeah, Keaton as well. We don't talk about him enough, being the floor general. Like his numbers also don't really scream at you on the stat sheet. I mean, he's pretty consistent, going to score like 8 to 12 points a game. Um, you know, but he's not going to turn the ball over a lot, and he's going to make the right pass at the right time. So.
Yeah, turnover rate, one of the tops in the country. It's one of the tops in the SoCon right now. 11 points against Western. Had a little bit of a slow start against Chattanooga. We can kind of transition to that one a little bit. Nice having Dylan out there, but again, it's just easier. You can't be down 28 on the road, right? That's kind of obvious out there. But
Yeah,
I
maybe
mean,
maybe if
just
you're Bucky McMillan playing Bucky
yeah,
ball, but I don't think that the Lenny system is really built for coming back from 18 to 28 down, especially on the road.
yeah, on the road. Jaden played every minute, played 40 minutes at 23 points, 6 rebounds. Dylan was back out there, 24 points, 5 boards. Diggy Campbell Finch kind of had a bigger game. We've been waiting to kind of see his growth. Maybe he can kind of be that extra scorer we saw early in the non-conference slate. He kind of stepped up. He had 16 points starting lineup. But yeah, obviously Stanford down 49-28 at halftime and having to roar back. Like cutting it to 4 is pretty miraculous at that point. But still, Chattanooga find a way to get down at home.
Yeah, the second half was sneaky. I mean, being down 28 at one point, and it never really felt like we were taking over that game in a way that could bring us back down to four, but we just kind of slow and steady throughout the whole second half. Hit our shots, shoot up our defense a little bit, especially down in the post. That was killing us in the first half. Just inability to guard down low, and then hitting our shots. And it, it, I mean, I'm surprised that we even came back from down 28. So I just think if we play Chattanooga five other times, I bet we win four of them.
Yeah.
At least like how we played in the second half. I just think Chattanooga was so hot in the first half. We were playing so terribly on defense and we couldn't hit a shot. And it just, I mean, you can't expect anybody to come back from that. So very, very frustrating first half there.
Yeah, you just couldn't. Like you said, that's kind of been the struggle. Couldn't get any stops. Stanford's moved into the 300s overall in the country when it comes to defensive strength per Ken Palm. They're a little bit down in the SoCon. I mean, you go through the kind of the numbers. Stanford missed 14 free throws, 22 of 36 from the line. That, I mean, even down 28, if you make half of those that you missed, you obviously win the game. Shout out hashtag math on that point. But Sanford 7 of 22 from three. Chat just made one more three. They only missed 2 free throws, but again, Sanford out rebounded, had 8 turnovers, which I mean, you kind of on the road you can kind of take that too. But it's just interesting to see that kind of come down with Dylan back out there with the ankle injury, playing all those minutes.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up because trying to look at first half stats when we were down so much. And I mean, we had 8 turnovers to Chattanooga's 2, which
Yeah.
gave Chattanooga 10 extra field goal attempts in that first half. I mean, that alone is a killer. And then we shot 22 free throws in the first half, went 11 for 22. I think you might have said
Mm.
that. Even though we out rebounded them, we turned the ball over so many times that they had 11 points off turnovers. Yeah, I went 20 for 32 in the first half from the field compared to our 7 to 22. So just kind of overall, just didn't take advantage of opportunities early on in that game. And I just I don't think Chattanooga is a better team than us. We just didn't play up to the standard at all in that first half.
Yeah, Chat was coming off a losses to VMI on Saturday the 3rd, and then Furman at home too. So I mean, they're reeling. But I think SoCon John put it out. Chattanooga was threatening to fall in 0-4 if Sanford won. That would have been the first time a champion from last year in the regular season started 0-4 since like the 90s or something like that. Like that's how crazy it would have been if Chattanooga would have fallen that far. But Sanford gets the win. They have a couple road games this week. They go back on the road. But yeah, Sanford. So you said 8 turnovers in the first half, which means we didn't turn it over at all in the second half. That just speaks to like the way Lenny wants
Yeah.
to play, obviously, and the way those halves were kind of wild, just going at there. I mean, points in the paint. They only had 4 more points in the paint. Same amount of fast break points. Chattanooga got more from their bench, obviously 36 to Stanford's 5, which is kind of that scoring that we've talked about all year that we'll continue to talk about unless we kind of get one of those guys like Cam Martin only 2 points compared to the 11 he had against Western.
Yeah, he's a guy that's shown flashes of scoring ability throughout the season. There was one game early in the non-conference play that he went off. It was a road game, and I can't remember what game that was, somewhere in Texas maybe. But like he's shown flashes of being a guy that can kind of score at will. And like I mean, we've talked about all season, and we've got to find somebody else that can consistently put points up because you just can't expect Faulkner and Booth to. Maybe you can, but you can't expect them to put up 50 points combined every game and still manage to be in these games if we don't have somebody else scoring. And so, I think Campbell Finch is is probably the guy that I'm most excited about for the future.
Yeah.
If we can keep him around and keep him developing, he kind of reminds me a little bit of a Josh Holloway, just in how quick he is and his ability to drive
Hmm.
downhill and really score at will. Faulkner scores in the paint at the free throw line, what, like 40%, but Booth can kind of score whenever he wants to, shooting three. But Jaden Booth is the one guy that I think could just drive it downhill and hopefully beat his man and score. And I think hopefully that's something that continues to develop throughout the season to provide a little bit more consistency like he did against Chattanooga.
Yeah, Jaden has looked to do that a little bit more. You go to, like, he's had some slow first halves where, like, if he's missed first couple threes, okay, I'm gonna start attacking the basket and trying to get them off me when it comes to the defender kind of guarding you. We'll see if his minutes can kind of keep up. I mean, he did miss the last bye game before the break, but in SoCon plays played 36 minutes, 37, 39, and 40 through 4 games. Like, is that sustainable too? Just going on. If you can get him down to like 33, but if he provides you so much offense and he's not in foul trouble, he's obviously going to be out there. So I mean, like, who knows whether that will play a will play a factor once we get farther into conference play. But that's just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, teams are going to catch on to him and have caught on to him. I mean, as early as like the third, fourth game of the season, he was getting double teamed because people realized how elite of a shooter he was. But I think he's done a pretty decent job given his size and athleticism, to find to find creative ways to score when he doesn't get open looks all that often without forcing it. I mean, he had maybe three turnovers in the
Mhm.
first half of this game, but again, like you said, no turnovers in the second half. So he's managing to kind of find ways not to force things and create his own shot, given he can be outsized in this league compared to the D2 talent he's used to playing against.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with Sanford's week, which we can go and transition to with the two biggest games pretty much of the year so far when it comes to SoCon play. We host Furman as this drops on Wednesday night for a readout, and then we host ETSU. Both teams top in the SoCon right now. ETSU 4-0, Furman 3-1. Furman is down some guys, some injured guys, mainly Cooper Bowser, who's missed the last few games. They've actually, in fact, they might be down 4 or 5 guys, depending on who gets to come back. I think one of them has concussion, but Tom House, Asa Thomas, Cooper Bowser, and Davis Molnar are kind of some guys that have been playing in the rotation that have been down. So that would be huge if a guy like Bowser is down. Although I am kind of interested to see what a Faulkner Bowser matchup would kind of look like. I mean, Bowser's got a couple inches on him, but Dylan's actually the leading shot blocker in the conference right now. So that would be interesting. So if he does come back, or for now, we'll see that in a couple weeks. But Ken Palm has these pretty close games. Starting with Furman, what kind of excites you about that matchup, especially a team that beat us 3 times last year?
Well, we hate Furman. I think everybody knows that. And I would never hope for somebody to be injured, but I really don't want to go up against Tom House because I've not forgiven him for what he did to us in the tournament last year.
Oh,
But I mean, it's a Bob Ritchie coach team, so they're always gonna be well coached. They've definitely had some of the some struggles this year, but ultimately they're, what do we say? They're 3-1 in SoCon right now.
yeah.
Really, we talked about this before we started recording, but Alex Wilkins, their freshman point guard, he's putting up close to 17 points a game as a true freshman, which is very impressive. Kid from the Northeast, from the New England region. I looked it up. He's actually, I don't know if this means anything, but he was the third highest ranked New England player in the country last year.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't really know any players to come out of the New England region other than what's his name out of Dallas right now, the Cooper Flag.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
regardless, pretty impressive. So yeah, he's a guy. He's shooting 45% from the field, 85% from free throw, putting up 17 points a game. So it'll be very impressive to watch him and what he can do as a true freshman guard. And then Ben Vanderwall, guy's been around since before we started this podcast, I think. I mean, he's just a
Yeah,
constant for Furman. Definitely
how many
a
years
player that
ago?
gets on the nerves of the opponents. But it's nice in this era when you have to get used to so many new names on every team you play to have somebody like Vanderwall that you can kind of learn to hate. And
Yep.
it's kind of refreshing, to have somebody come back for his fourth or fifth year, and so it should be a good matchup. I think the rivalry is going to be a little bit less without Bucky here because that was
Yeah.
such a big rivalry, those two coaches for sure. But I'm excited to see how Lenny's style matches up against Bob Ritchie.
Yeah, and I forgot who had it in the preseason, but I think it was On three had a story that basically Richie, when he got the job, was looking to build a new system and basically called ACUF. Said, "Hey, can you come teach me how you do stuff?" So basically, he's kind of where he learned a little bit of his kind of system that he's been running. So we'll see if the master student thing plays a factor. And it'll be hard to see how many guys they had down, but Wilkins, a 6'5" point guard, is pretty amazing. It's kind of a huge kind of point guard. 17 points, like you mentioned, the points he's been averaging, he'd be hard to stop. So we'll see how Samford can kind of match up against him. But yeah, can they get Jaden going against a team that's better defensively than what they've seen before? I mean, this week coming up, be the best two defensive teams in the SoCon. So it's just a matter of Furman's defensive rating is 139 on KenPom. ETSU is 123. But yeah, it'll be an interesting matchup. See how Jaden can kind of fare against these kind of defenses.
Yeah, I think the Saturday game against ETSU is going to be a whole different story. I mean, those guys are extremely athletic. We haven't played a ton of really athletic teams this year. A couple of the matchups where we were kind of outmatched in the world of athleticism, I think we played pretty well, but ETSU is extremely aggressive. They play physical, so it'll just be a different style basketball game. Curious to see how they defend Jaden Booth because
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to have a really good game plan against him, and then also potentially double teaming Faulkner down low. So, how are we going to find ways to create opportunities with the defense as physical as they are?
Yeah, you just go through their starting five: 6'1", 6'4", 6'4", and then 2 6'8" guys. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Samford can kind of react to that kind of length and defensive. And can a guy like Cam Barton kind of get going? Can he had 11 points against Western? Can he make some threes? Can Keaton find a shot a little bit more too? That'll be something to kind of watch too. If Keaton's offense is there, then that's just another factor for Samford to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't watched a ton of ETSU this year, so that'll be exciting. But I know they're probably projected to win the SoCon at this point. It'll be. I just feel like they're kind of a different team compared to the rest of the league, so it'll be a fun matchup.
Yeah, their
So
first
fun.
four games. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Their first four games, they beat Citadel by a lot, beat Mercer by 6, VMI by 14, and UNCG by 16. Then they play Western on Wednesday. So
Yeah. This is off topic, but I was looking at stats leaders for the whole country that just popped up on ESPN. Jaden Booth is currently first in the country, if I'm looking at this right, in 3 points made at 4.1 per game. Familiar foe sitting at second with 4 3-point pointers made a game. Do you know who it is?
in fact, this is only because Blake texted me the other day. He's like, "Did you know that Hunter Huff's at West Virginia?"
Yeah, I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was still playing. I figured he was in Europe somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
he's that's pretty impressive. So good for him.
Yeah, he had like 22 against Kansas the other day. Like he was going off.
Really.
So yeah, we'll see. Ken Palm has Sanford losing both of these games, which would not be fun, but they're both 1 to 2 possession games. And again, this doesn't account for the injuries Furman has. So we'll see how that can play a factor. Whether Sanford finally plays some home games, which is a miracle.
Yeah, I would say fully healthy. I'd expect Samford to go 0-2 this week, just based on how we've been playing recently and our inability to kind of get ahead early and or really stay in the games early. I would say with the injuries, especially the Cooper Bowser injury, and if Faulkner's ankle heals up and we feel like he's a full go, then um, I would predict that Samford wins the Furman game and then loses the ETSU game, but. Um, We'll see what happens.
Yeah, one
And
thing to
Buckyball in Tennessee is going to overtime right now, so that's fun.
uh, of course, he can't find a game that's not close.
Yeah,
It's on brand. Crazy. Yeah, let's see. Conference defense. Yeah, ETSU first, Furman second. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see that matchup. Sanford 9-8 overall, projected to go 9-9. Again, a long way to go. Only 2 weeks in. With the way this conference is, who knows? With the way it's kind of shaping up, we've kind of seen ETSU and Furman at the top, and there's like this whole clutch of teams, kind of pretty much everyone except Citadel basically is kind of in this clutch of kind of guys that are like top two than everybody else basically.
yeah, it's definitely. I mean, we've talked about it, but and this is probably the case for most low major to mid major teams or conferences, but just teams are just kind of having to find talent, and I just think there's going to be a lack of talent for the next few years, just in the world that we live in. Um, it's great to have the two guys. I mean, Jaden Booth is probably going to go down as the best shooter in Stanford history, even just his 1 year. And Dylan Faulkner, he's given off, I feel like he kind of reminds me a little bit of like a more physical um, Logan Die almost. So it's like, it's fun to have some of these
You know?
really talented guys, but I just kind of I wish there was a little bit more depth on this roster and really the whole league.
Yeah, right. Let's see. I want to look up what Jaden is shooting from three, and then compare that with another former SoCon guy who lit it up from outside.
He's shooting 41.2% right now.
2%. That is 41. That is 0.7 less than Fletcher McGee did in his senior season at
Oof.
Wofford.
And his freshman season
Senior season last
or
season.
senior season.
Yep.
Well, how many threes did he hit that year? What was his average per game?
He averaged, let's see, 20 points per game that year. So let's see. He averaged, 4.5 made threes a game. Yeah.
Okay, so he's slightly better than Jaden Booth, but not far off.
Yeah.
We
He
just need
finished.
Jaden to go off in the SoCon tournament, make it to the NCAA tournament, and then he'll be the next Fletcher McGee.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we need to do. Let's look through. Ken Palm has about 40%. Yeah, 41%, whatever, close enough. Yeah, free throw percentage is about the same too. So yeah, that is kind of a cool comp. Stanford could have a Fletcher McGee of their own.
Dylan Faulkner sitting at 0% from three this year. Didn't realize he hadn't attempted a single three.
Yeah, Lenny talked about it in a preseason. He could shoot threes now. It's like I don't know if we want him to, but I mean, if he could, like, if he hits one or two, but I mean, Shavers hit a
Yeah,
couple, but
I do feel like I remember Lenny saying that early in the season that he kind of worked on that. Maybe we just don't need him with the rest of the team that we got. But one thing we didn't talk about was Caleb Harrison's minutes against Chattanooga.
that's right. Yeah,
He played 4 minutes there early in the second half. What were your thoughts on
I
that?
think that it kind of had to go to Pollard wasn't giving you much, and a young guy like Caleb. I mean, Jackson only played 4 minutes too, but yeah, it'll be cool to kind of get him some more minutes as we kind of grow, and maybe he's kind of played well in practice to kind of get to that point. Kind of adding another guy to Sanford's front court would be nice.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Just I didn't know if it was kind of a last ditch effort to make a comeback in that game because we were down by so much, or if it didn't really seem like it was a foul trouble issue. But I mean, he's somebody that I think has shown so much promise since he committed to Samford, obviously under Bucky, but a little bit shocked at his lack of minutes, and maybe it's just the depth of that position this year. But I mean, he's clearly a hustle guy, somebody that works hard. So um, hopefully, he can continue to kind of grow his presence throughout the year and kind of carve out opportunities since he's so young.
Yeah, just a baby being a redshirt freshman, but kind of like another guy we talked about or haven't talked about. Guy who played at Stanford last year, Riley Onspach's having a huge year for George Mason.
Yeah, somebody was just texting me about that today earlier. Are they 16-1 right now?
Yeah, they are now 17-1. Yeah, they're crazy.
Good for him. What are his numbers?
Their only losses to Virginia Tech. Riley against Loyola, he had 23 points, 5 rebounds. So yeah, pretty.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's wild because he was kind of a player that regressed a little bit last year, where we started to kind of question his fit for our offense and his physicality, his inability to finish at the rim. Like, I mean, there were so many kind of yellow flags with him, and maybe he just needed to find the right fit. That's awesome for him.
yeah. He started every game, averaging 23 minutes. Yeah,
That's great. Yeah,
he's averaging 13.4 points per game and 5 rebounds. Not shooting it that much. He's only 10 of 35 from three, so he's looked like he's developed more of a back to the basket game. I need to go check out one of their games. I'm sure they play on Sunday to avoid the rest of the conferences on Saturday. But yeah, we need to go check out one of their games.
yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, other than Brownell at USC, he's probably the only player that's really having a successful season transferring out of Stanford. I mean, Trey Fort started the season as a starter at Michigan State, but his minutes have severely diminished. We are talking about earlier. Holloway at A&M has also seen his minutes diminish pretty heavily. I don't really know what the guy at Bradford's doing, Wells or
Oh,
Walls, but Lucas
yeah, Lucas.
Walls.
Yeah, Lucas. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Trey is averaging 5 points per game right now at Michigan State.
yeah, but that's great for Allen's ball.
Yeah, you just go through these guys. Like, imagine like if Bucky did stay, like they were guaranteed, or they almost thought they had Jaden Booth in the bag. So you get Jaden Booth with a bunch of the guys that we had last year. Like you kind of have that team, the older team who's been playing a lot, and you throw in Jaden, who is obviously we've seen him score all these points. Like they've been pretty. Like, that's a solid like 6 to 7 guys that can go win the league for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think That would have been pretty epic to watch all those guys come back. I don't know that Trey Fort would have come back, but I think the other
Yeah.
guys probably would have. Obviously, we wouldn't have had um, Rylan Jones. He'd be playing, I guess, in the manager games for Samford. But no, that would have been. I mean, I definitely think that we'd be at the top of SoCon right now if we managed to keep those guys. But Lenny's doing more than we could have asked for in his first season, and it's been a struggle to start the SoCon, but so much potential and got a lot of games left to play.
Yep, only 2 games in. Sorry, 4 games in. 2 more this week. So do you think we go 1-1, or hope we go 1-1, or is that kind
I'm
of
hoping we go one
low?
and one. I think I would maybe put money on that, or money going on 0 and 2. I don't know, but I would not put money on going 2 and 0. I don't think that we matched up well against ETSU. And like
Agreed.
we talked about, I think depending on Furman's injury status, I think Furman would be favored in that game. But without Cooper Bowser and maybe Tom House and some of those other players, I think there's a little bit of opportunity there to maybe steal a win.
Even under Bucket, we weren't a good matchup fit for ETSU. Like they dominated that series for the most part. Other than I think we split the series during the SoCon title year, then obviously beat them in the title game. And then
What's going on with football?
we've got a lot going on with football. We've got assistant coaches adding over the place. He hasn't been officially announced, but we talked about it last week. And Michael Pierce says he's the D-line coach, and then dang it, he's the D-line coach for Samford. I'm not going to tell him no. I've just seen a picture of him the other day, so I'm not going to tell Coach Pierce no. So we've got all these assistants coming from Clemson. We've got some with Jacksonville State ties under Gross. We've got some portal commits. Yeah, some pretty exciting stuff for a team. Obviously, after a coaching search and anything different, we're like, oh yeah, this is awesome. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. Obviously, a long way to go when it comes to the portal. We've gotten 5 guys via the portal, a couple of guys along the D line. Michael Pierce tweeted that we got a third, so there will be a third commit coming across the defensive line. So rebuilding those trenches, which Samford had some good edge players, but again, D tackle were some guys that were up a position group that needed to get bolstered, and Pierce is obviously a huge reason why that will probably be better. We've gotten 5 guys. Marquise Henderson, a transfer from Clemson. He was actually dismissed from the Clemson team over the summer. Former 4-star running back recruit, super fast. So it'll be interesting to see how he looks against SoCon action. Linebacker Spencer Kahn from Murray State. He had a productive freshman season, over 60 tackles. He is the son of Samford's new defensive coordinator, Mickey Kahn, who comes over from Clemson. Camden Etheridge was a walk-on tight end at Auburn. And then you got some D-line ads with Desmond Thomas from Alabama State. Then Aiden Jeter from Fordham. So you've got some guys there already as the team looks to build a roster. One kind of a notable note, Brady Stober never announced that he was in the portal, but I remember looking on the team website, he wasn't on the roster, so I knew something maybe was coming. He announced he's going to Elon to be their quarterback. So Samford guaranteed to have a new starting quarterback next year as they kind of look to rebuild that room.
Yeah, that was my one question for you is any movement there as to what we might be doing at the quarterback position?
Yeah, they've got some offers out. They did have somebody who visited. Let's see, Coulter. His first name's Coulter. Yeah, Coulter Cleland was the quarterback at Davidson the last 2 years. He's got an offer from ETSU. He's visited Samford. Those are the only offers he's talked about. So that's the kind of first offer for new Samford quarterback coach Paul Tyson. We'll see how they look to kind of add there.
Yeah, obviously an important position. I mean, I guess we'll figure it out. So, but you
Yeah,
said Gross is more of an offensive minded coach, right? He's gonna call the offense, you think?
Yeah, I would assume he called plays. He did the same thing at Jack State. Just he was the offensive coordinator before getting promoted when Bill Clark left for UAB. So I would assume
Yeah,
that'd be the case.
yeah,
Stanford just has 2 quarterbacks on the roster right now, and we know Hatcher like to keep 25 quarterbacks on the roster. So we'll see how many Gross wants to have when it comes. But looking to rebuild that room as Charlie Gilliam, a transfer from Wake, who played last year, then a walk on James McGinn, freshman sophomore walk on. So we'll see how that kind of goes as we kind of get into the portal a little bit.
yeah. It's still early in that process. I'm sure, especially for quarterback, I feel like probably get somebody late that's looking to get a start. But whatever. I guess we'll figure it out when the time comes.
Yeah, so
It's
hopefully
so
next
hard
week.
hard hard to keep up with this stuff.
Yeah, no, right. So much to track. Even I lose. I'm searching Sanford on Twitter way too much to make sure I don't miss anything. It's like we need to take some time off Twitter. But I mean, this is what you
Yeah,
do when you got to build a whole new roster, whole new coach. Hopefully next week we've got the whole coaching staff finalized on the website, so we can kind of walk through. Hopefully positions will be added. If you look on the website now, it just says assistant coaches by some guys names on the staff. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, overall, pretty impressive though what Gross has done. I know he's brought a lot of guys in from Clemson and guys that he's had prior connection to, both in Alabama and at the collegiate level. But I mean, just it's been how long? Like a month since Hatcher left or got let go, maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah,
But I feel like there's just a lot of momentum around the program, a lot of excitement. A lot of that excitement's probably just excitement about something new, and
yeah.
kind of we've been used to kind of the same offseason the last couple of years, and it's just exciting to the anticipation of like what's to come. But I think starting with the coaching staff, he's put together a great team, and obviously, as we've seen from Twitter, Michael Pierce tweeting out these crazy tweets this week. We've gotten a couple dogs in the D line, so hopefully the transfers
Yeah.
keep coming in and we can compete in SoCon next year.
Yeah, if you look at the roster and just what I've been following on Twitter, just two guys that haven't been announced yet. Pierce being one, then Tyler Venables. I know you coach Brent Venables played at Clemson for the last 5-6 years. He'll be the Sanford Nichols coach, so he announced that himself already. So we'll wait for that to get announced too. Is actually his brother will be the Sanford strength and conditioning coordinator, Jake, who was at UAB last year. So that's kind of cool with the last name Sanford's got on this roster. When you talk about the Venables, you talk about Dabo's son, Drew Sweeney, be the receivers coach. Paul Tyson, as we talked about, grandson of Bear Bryant, will be the Sanford quarterbacks coach. So you've got some last names that you can go into recruits, schools and homes, but hey, this is what we got going on, and anything for Sanford can use on that front will be great.
Yeah, I mean, the names alone should recruit for themselves, I guess.
Yeah, and then
Uh,
we'll have two guys that have played in the NFL, Michael Pearson and Chris Landrum was just announced as assistant coach. He played under Gross and Bill Clark at Jack State, so that's where that came from. He played 5 years in the NFL with the Chargers and Texans, and so he got a degree from Jack State. So yeah, a couple Jack State ties. Once we get those announced, we'll get into. He started his career at Auburn, so a guy who's played in state. I think lives in Houston now is coming to join the Sanford staff. So Sanford's got those last names. Two guys that have played in the NFL is a pretty strong start, no matter what kind of players they can bring in.
yeah, absolutely. I think at the FCS level to have ties in the NFL and ties to these, high major or power four teams like Clemson in Oklahoma, I think that just helps recruit so well. So hopefully it's the right foundation to build a winning program, but I guess we'll find out in August.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep tracking it, and I'm sure we'll be updated every week. The portal closes Friday. That just means that guys have to get in the portal by this Friday. So we'll have guys and wait for the trickle down effect of guys coming to Sanford level, which we'll cover all that. And you can go check out our portal track on the website, stateofthebulldogs.com, which we'll try to keep updated as Sanford looks to build this whole roster. So anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm just gonna watch the end of this game and hope that Tennessee pulls it out. I'm usually wearing a
Sounds
Sanford hat, but I got my Tennessee hat on today.
there you go. I just got a text from someone like, "You watching this?" question mark and like exactly like I know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah,
So
I've got so many texts I got to respond to.
yeah, we will wake up when this drops. We'll obviously have the results. See if Bucky gets to 4-0 in SEC play, which is pretty wild when you think about it. But
Coming down to the wire, maybe a third overtime. I don't know.
maybe a third. We'll find out. Yeah, 7-9, 7-9, and we'll get out here and watch that. We'll see everybody next week. Like and subscribe to the YouTube. We're over 100 subscribers. We're up to 102 now, so that keeps jumping up. So keep doing what we need to get the algorithm on our side at this point. State of the Bulldogs is out. We'll see y'all next week.